What is going on, everyone? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good, because it is good to feel good. Yes, it is. And today is a day worth celebrating, because today is in fact the 8th anniversary of this YouTube channel. So yeah, I've got no streamers or confetti cannons or anything like that, or party poppers, so we're just gonna have to just do the whole let's just cue the sound effect. On this day, I see clearly. I uploaded my first ever video to this YouTube channel, and here's a little snippet of that.
I don't.
Yep, I play that every year, and that's all you're going to see of that video. So yeah, 8 years on, we're still going strong, and that just unintentionally rhymed, but yeah. So 8 years on, what's happening? Well, today I've got another video for you guys, and this is a video that I've been coining around filming for a while, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm guessing that you can see from the title of this video, it's about wrestling. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk wrestling, and basically this video is my love of wrestling. For those of you who are unaware, for many years, I'd say about 16 and a half to be precise, I have been a wrestling fan, and I'd say my first exposure to wrestling came in the form of the video game WWF Warzone for the PS1, and that was like ages ago. I'd say ages ago, it was 16 and a half years ago, or more before that, I guess. And my first exposure to TV, like when wrestling was on the telly, was it was an episode of WWE SmackDown back in September of 2002, and I remember there was a match featuring Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, and a returning Undertaker. And this was back during a time when SmackDown and other weekly wrestling shows were featured on Sky One over here in the UK. My first ever time attending a wrestling show was a Raw house show that took place up in Sheffield back in 2004. So I remember at the time there were guys like Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Kane, and quite a few others who were part of the roster back then. So yeah, those are the names that popped up there. Since then, I have been to many wrestling shows that have been put on by many different promotions, and yeah, there's just loads to it. My first ever wrestling related tattoo is a HBK broken heart, which is one of the symbols often associated with WWE Hall of Famer Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And I consider Shawn Michaels to be one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. I was really entranced by his in-ring work, his character work, whether he was a heel back in the early 90s, his work with DX, and also his run in WWE from 2002 to 2010, which, like, in that period, just gave us some of the best matches of Shawn Michaels' career. It's mad to think that something that I've been watching since I was a child is something that I still watch, praise, criticize sometimes, and for the most part enjoy to this day. Wrestling, in my opinion, is more than just entertainment, but it's also, I'd say, an art form. It has many different styles, a wide variety of characters, engaging storylines, and some silly ones, and anyone can enjoy a vast number of different promotions these days. Like, back in the day, there were a lot more, I'd say, well-established promotions, but since, I guess, like in the 21st century, a lot of promotions have come along, and you know, in just giving us more, like, there's more exposure to more of wrestling basically, and it's really cool. While there's a big community of wrestling fans, there's always going to be that someone, usually in most cases a wrestling fan, who is going to hit you with the soul-crushing news that it is in fact fake. Sometimes I'll be having a conversation with people about wrestling, and then just suddenly out of the blue, someone will just come up and say,
"Oh yeah, but you know it's fake, right, don't you?"
It's still real to me, damn it!
As a child, I would be so on the defense to say why it's not fake, but I guess as I got older, I realized, you know, it's just like any other form of entertainment, really. I mean, yes, the people who take part in it are in fact real, but they are following a script, they're portraying characters, and the matches they have are predetermined and planned out by bookers, writers, and management. So while I do know that it is entertainment and is essentially fake, you could also apply that exact same logic to any other film or TV show. For example, what happens in Star Wars isn't real. Luke Skywalker doesn't go off to join the Rebel Alliance and fight the Empire. He doesn't blow up the Death Star in his X-Wing fighter, and he doesn't fight Darth Vader and find out that he's his father. That's all part of a fantasy where there's an established premise, good guys versus bad guys, and the stakes are high and there'll be some big old outcome solution in the end. There are many different elements that people enjoy when it comes to the art of wrestling. Some people enjoy, you know, the storyline, some people enjoy the larger than life characters, some people enjoy the dramatic entrances that these characters make, but I guess for the most part, people enjoy it for the wrestling itself. One of my favourite wrestling matches of all time is The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. These two were established legends, both in their mid-40s at the time, and on the night they managed to put on a match that lasted just over half an hour, and in their mid-40s, being able to do a match like that is incredible. These two had previously engaged in one-on-one counters many times before, including the inaugural Hell in a Cell match that took place back in 1997, but the two had never faced off at Mania before. Going into this match, The Undertaker had a streak of 16 wins at WrestleMania, which would be ultimately broken by Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. And for Shawn Michaels, one of his nicknames was Mr. WrestleMania for his ability at putting on show-stealing matches at the namesake event. The match itself featured many twists and turns. Taker at one point went for a suicide dive onto the outside onto Michaels, only for the latter to step aside and pull a cameraman in front, and Taker ended up spiking himself on that. Oh, it's a horrible image, but Taker spiked himself on the floor and landed on his head, and it was horrible at that point. Throughout the match, there would be multiple points where both men would attempt their signature moves on one another, only for each attempt to end in a near fall. So there were choke slams, last rides, tombstones from the Undertakers, which were equally balanced by the sweet chin music from Michaels. Climax to the match came when Michaels attempted the moonsault onto Taker, only for the latter to catch him and counter it into a tombstone pile driver and into the finish. So while I consider this to be one of my favourite matches of all time, there was also a great sequel that took place at the following year's WrestleMania, where the stakes were higher and it was Undertaker's streak up against Shawn Michaels' career being on the line, and yeah, it ended really emotionally, and I shan't spoil it here, but it was emotional. Another element that I enjoy is the atmosphere of some events. Something that I don't particularly enjoy is, well, I say don't particularly, I don't enjoy it at all. Something that I don't enjoy is sometimes where there could be a crowd that are so disinterested with what's going on that they essentially hijack the show, which can include random chants that are unrelated to what's going on in the ring, Mexican waves, and bloody beach balls. But from experience, most shows that I've been to have had an incredible atmosphere. I've seen wrestling in venues ranging from the O2 Academy in Newcastle to the Electric Ballroom in Camden. I've been to see wrestling at the O2 Arena, Wembley Arena, the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and each time, for the most part, they have had an incredible, energetic atmosphere. One event that I've yet to have witnessed in person is WrestleMania. The event itself has been going since 1985, when it was first held at Madison Square Garden in New York. My first WrestleMania that I recall watching was WrestleMania 19, a show that featured matches such as Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin is as part of their WrestleMania trilogy, and the night was main evented by Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. For a few years I've had this ambition of wanting to go to WrestleMania, and I almost did so last year. After WrestleMania 33 a few years back, I got in contact with a group of people and we planned that we were going to go to WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. Sadly, that plan fell through after a few people pulled out of going, and I guess I had no choice but to watch it over here once again. And I remember on the night itself, I remember feeling a bit down, thinking about what could have been and like us all having a great time, but it just wasn't meant to be. And yeah, I did feel quite sad on the night, just, you know, thinking, oh, I could have been there. However, I wasn't going to give up on the idea of potentially going to a WrestleMania event in the future, and for the first time ever this year, I am doing so. So I will be going to WrestleMania 35 in just a few short weeks' time, and yeah, it's happening. I'm really bloody excited for this. It may sound like a cliche of me to say, you know, it's been a dream of mine that I've wanted to go to WrestleMania one day, but bloody hell, it's happening. And by the magic of numbers, WrestleMania 19 was the first ever WrestleMania I watched. This year, what's happening right now is 2019, and I'm attending my first ever WrestleMania. And 19 is my lucky number, and I'm not quite sure how this is all connected, but just roll with it. So yes, I will be attending WrestleMania for the first time, and as a lifelong wrestling fan, this will definitely be a dream come true. Sorry, I get really giddy just thinking about it, because like in my mind I picture, oh, I can picture what's going to go down at the event, and also it's not just WrestleMania that I'm attending a lot of other things around WrestleMania as well, and that's all the magic of wrestling, how there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not just like down to one promotion, but there's so much of it going on, and I'm happy to be going, and I can't wait to take you guys along for the ride, and oh, it's gonna be so much fun. But anyway, that's me talking about wrestling, and I'm really excited about wrestling at the moment, so I cannot wait for WrestleMania. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you know, if you are a wrestling fan, tell me sort of some of your favourite bits about wrestling. I guess you can leave them in the comments, or you can tell me elsewhere on the interwebs. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will catch you later. In fact, in a few days time I will be going to Morocco, so I'll be there doing bits in Morocco, so expect maybe a few vlogs from that trip. And yeah, I guess in a few short weeks time as well, I will see you at WrestleMania. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to leave you with some advice now, and that is to always enjoy yourself, stay safe, and make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.